A confusão entre Wanderlei Silva e Acelino Popó tomou uma proporção tão grande que agora até a mídia internacional está falando a respeito do ocorrido. Confira agora exatamente o que grandes nomes do MMA internacional falaram a respeito dessa briga.
An absolute legend of the game. I am talking about Wanderlei Silva was just knocked out in a boxing match in vicious, stunning fashion. And it wasn't even in the boxing match. He was cheating, he was being a dirty fighter, he was headbutting left, right and centre throughout the boxing match. Then he gets disqualified, then it all kicks off. It's Sunday morning, I get out of bed, it's 7 a.m, I'm having my morning coffee, I look at my phone, and this was the sight that I saw. Check this out. Now, this is immediately after this boxing match. So I'll give you the details in a minute. As you can see here, there's Wanderlei. It's all going mental. Wanderlei's pushed back. He's got his boxing gloves on in a fist fight scenario. And then look at this here now. What? Boom! Uppercut down, out, cold. And he ain't moving. I mean, that is a bad knockout, and then the action still carries on. I say action, I mean the madness, the melee, the brawl, the violence, whatever you want to call it. That was, I mean, I was not expecting that. And then this angle of it here is even more gruesome, if you will. So, hold on, here's Wanderlei. Boom! Goes down there, big shot. And I'll give you some context in a minute. So there he is. Wanderlei's down and out. Now Wanderlei Silva, look at that, he's getting dragged out by his arms. Unconscious like that. I mean, that's not a good look. And he's still out. Jesus. Let's just have another look at that. Oh, man. Nasty, really is. So Wanderlei Silva was competing in a boxing match against a former world champion from Brazil. Let's have a look right here because Yahoo here have the details. Acelino Popó Faritas. Okay, now if you saw leading up to this, Wanderlei Silva missed weight by a ridiculous amount. I saw reports online that he missed weight by 40 pounds, okay? And if that wasn't bad enough, then he's headbutting the guy multiple times in the fight. Here, have a look at this. I mean, you can't blame his people or his crowd for being pissed off. Watch this here. Boom! I mean, that's as clear as day. That's a nasty headbutt. And that wasn't just one headbutt, there was multiple. There was a lot. So he was taking the piss. He was headbutting him several times. He missed weight by 20 pounds or 40 pounds, whichever one it is. I haven't been following Spartan Fight League too much. The referee disqualifies him and then all hits the fan. The man is a legend of the sport. He is an icon of the sport. He's a bit of a dickhead, you know, if you ask me, because of the steroids. And then, of course, in this boxing fight, he kind of got what he deserved. So obviously, there's two sides to every story. Fabrizio Verdum, he was there, he was in his corner, and he had a totally different account. But we saw it play out there. We saw Wanderlei Silva headbutting his opponent. He then gets disqualified, and all hits the fan. So it was nasty, man. It was nasty to see that at 49 years old. I mean, if you look at his record again, Wanderlei Silva, 49, so no spring chicken. 35 wins, 14 losses, so 49 MMA fights, knocked out 7 times, 27 wins by knockout. And it's a shame. It is a shame to see someone like Wanderlei Silva, because if you scroll down, right down here on his record, there he is knocking out Rampage Jackson. That was a vicious knockout over Rampage. Yuki Kondo stomps Ikuhiza Minowa. Rampage again, Hidehiko Yoshida. I mean, the man was legendary. He really was. And as I say, he was one of my early inspirations. So to see him getting knocked out like that is really sad. At 49 years old, still stepping in ring. And he looked pretty good. He didn't need to be headbutting. He didn't need to be cheating. Of course, he missed weight dramatically as well. So that's never good. And you might say that missing weight by that amount is cheating as well. But, you know, it's kind of mixed emotions, because I never really liked the guy. Once I got to meet him, he wasn't someone that I was a fan of, shall we say, because, you know, you talk a lot of shit going into a fight. Typically when the fight's over, you speak to the guy and everything's good. Like me and George St. Pierre, we talked a lot of shit. He's one of my favorite people on the planet. George St. Pierre is unbelievable. Anderson Silva, same thing, you know, he tested positive for steroids, so I was talking a lot of shit at him. But afterwards, it was nothing but respect. Wanderlei Silva, I don't really feel that way. But even still, I didn't enjoy seeing a former MMA legend stepping in a boxing ring. Yeah, okay, he headbutted. Yeah, he cheated. Yeah, he missed weight. So he probably deserves it. But it was sad to see a former MMA icon getting knocked out like that so viciously in like a subpar boxing league at 49 years old.
On Saturday, everyone was talking about Wanderlei Silva. So Wanderlei Silva, the axe murderer, was a part of an event called Spaten Fight Night 2. You may recall Spaten Fight Night 1 showcased Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen in a very clearly worked boxing match. And so Anderson Silva this time around was fighting a former boxer turned Brazilian politician named Acelino Freitas in a boxing match. It was on a very large television network over in Brazil and Latin America, and it turned into an absolute mess. A brawl broke out after a headbutt, and this is the aftermath of it. After there was a brawl in the ring, we can't show you all of it, but that's Wanderlei Silva getting knocked out cold in the midst of the brawl, and then getting dragged. His carcass being dragged to the corner in a very, very scary scene. This is Wanderlei Silva, who, by the way, probably shouldn't have been fighting, period, who, you know, was a part of the class action lawsuit and gave testimony saying that, you know, he's dealing with all kinds of brain issues. And he posted a video on Sunday reacting to all of this, and he looks absolutely awful. Legend, axe murderer, Wanderlei Silva looking like that after this brawl. So not a great look, not a great scene, a scary scene. And at first I was like, is this real? Is this not? If only because I remembered the Chael Sonnen Anderson Silva fight, which was very much not a real fight. I was like, are they just creating a moment here? But then when you see the punch, you see the slow-mo, you see the aftermath, this is a mess of a situation.
Wanderlei had a boxing match in Brazil. Did you guys see this? Now, if I was to back this up a step, Wanderlei was going to have a boxing match in Brazil against Vitor Belfort, which I got to tell you, I was personally interested in, and I could only imagine that in Brazil, that was a very sought-after fight. Vitor comes out, momentarily, yours truly comes in. Brief back and forth. Don't need you, Chael. We've got a former boxer, a Brazilian boxer. He's retired, but he was a contender at one point. We're going to put this gentleman with Wanderlei. Great. That was probably a month ago, somewhere in that range, when I find out about this. So, the fight happens, and Wanderlei headbutts the opponent. Now, nowhere did I read, which doesn't mean it's not so, but the information that got to me, nowhere did I read that this was like a flagrant headbutt, where Wanderlei came out and pins the guy down and decides to use his head. In boxing, there's a lot of inside work that happens and that gets resulted in a headbutt. I don't know which case it was. I'm just sharing for you. The headbutt ends up happening a total of 4 times, and the referee says, enough, you're disqualified. So it is at that point when all the shenanigans that you've seen on social media and the videos that are going viral takes place, which is all hell breaks loose in the ring. So Wanderlei, for his most part, is staying on his side of the ring. He's watching turmoil. Relevant that you understand where these players are at. And Wanderlei's got his own guys going to the other side of the ring. And Wanderlei himself, though, is staying on his part. When a guy comes in under the ropes on Wanderlei's side, comes from around Wanderlei, right? Wanderlei's back, but he throws like a hook motion and punches Wanderlei. So it's complete chaos. At some point, this same gentleman, wearing a tuxedo, gets in front of Wanderlei, comes at him and throws a punch. Wanderlei does not know he's fighting this guy. Wanderlei is trying to fight nobody. In fact, from the footage that I've seen, it looks as though Wanderlei would like to calm this thing down. The guy hits him, the guy knocks him out. And there was reports that after Wanderlei was out, he still took some strikes. In fact, he even took a strike to the stomach while he was out. I gotta tell you, with the chaos, I couldn't quite identify all that, but Wanderlei's side has come forward and said, we're suing him. That is a crime. That is an assault. And we're going to sue you guys. Now, I had somebody else come out and say, yes, that looks very bad. But you have to understand how they got there. They got there through Wanderlei doing an illegal action to the point that it was ruled illegal, and Wanderlei was punished in the form of a disqualification. So whether this is his opponent's son or not, he has nothing to do with this. He is not supposed to be there, and he's got no justification to hit Wanderlei. But there was a little bit of chatter back and forth that the son was somehow justified. And that's the part where I gotta stop you. We have two different things happening here. We have a boxing event that comes with rules. It's an adjudication. And the judge of that adjudication is known as the referee, who saw the headbutt, who gave a warning for the headbutt, who was tired of giving warning for the headbutts and ultimately ruled a loss, a disqualification. At that point, your boxing match is over. You are no longer protected by the commission. You are no longer protected by the sanctity of sport. They are now done. So if an unlicensed third person enters the ring, not only do you have a trespass, it would be illegal for somebody to even be present in that moment. He is now punching a tired and gloved up and unexpecting Wanderlei Silva. That is a crime. And I would just share it for you from that perspective, because I have seen a lot of chatter about, did Wanderlei deserve it? But this was the guy's son. But Wanderlei attacked first, and this was a retribution. Wanderlei did not headbutt the son. Wanderlei did not fight the guy who hit him. Wanderlei did not headbutt anybody outside of the jurisdiction of the boxing match. That is false, and there is punishment if you do, of which he suffered. So the two events are greatly unrelated. Wanderlei did not deserve to be punched. He did not deserve to have to fight somebody that wasn't the person he agreed to fight. Wanderlei did not deserve to be attacked by somebody who's not wearing gloves, whose hands are not wrapped, who is completely fresh, and who is attacking him from behind. None of those things are true. Wanderlei is completely the victim in this situation.
Mas não tem quanto, tá louco não? Pelo que eu vi ali o Popó lutando boxe ali, eu posso machucar, eu posso fazer uma lesão muito grave no Popó. Eu posso machucar ele muito forte. Eu contra o Popó, porque eu não sou um amador, eu não sou um influencer, né, para lutar. A diferença de peso é muito grande. Eu não sou um bambam da vida que não sabe nem lutar, não sabe nem levantar a guarda. Eu posso machucar o Popó, ele pode ter uma lesão muito grave pro resto da vida dele, né? Se ele quer aproveitar dele. Eu não dá, porque senão eu, em vez de bater reto, eu bateria de cima para baixo, que eu ia martelar ele no chão. Eu ia afundar ele no chão, porque é muita diferença. O Popó tem 73 quilos. Eu acredito que poderia ser uma coisa mais justa o Popó contra o Dida. O André Dida seria uma coisa legal de fazer, porque é mais ou menos do tamanho, mas eu tenho certeza, absoluta certeza, que o Popó não aceita uma luta com o Dida. Eu apostaria diretamente com o Popó que o Dida nocauteia ele no primeiro round. Não tem como. Eu não dá, porque senão eu, em vez de bater reto, eu bateria de cima para baixo, que eu ia martelar ele no chão. Eu ia afundar ele no chão, porque é muita diferença. O Popó tem 73 quilos. Não sei, tá? É uma coisa bem estranha. A gente tem que ficar bem atento na saúde do Wanderlei, porque foi muita maldade, né? A maldade desse guri, desse Rafael aí, tá louco, velho. Eu acho que esse cara aí, no mínimo, tu imagina se fosse ao contrário. Imagina se fosse eu nocauteando o Popó. Eu estaria preso agora. Se eu nocauteio o Popó, eu estaria preso. Eu tenho certeza. né? Porque isso é coisa de cadeia. Do jeito que foi, pegar um cara pelas costas. Imagina eu dando um soco na nuca do Popó, eu deixo ele retardado pro resto da vida. E esse guri tinha essa noção também. E ele foi na maldade, porque quando a gente vê ele entrando no ringue, a gente vê que ele vai direto no Wanderlei. Ele não foi em alguém, ele foi no Wanderlei. Ele sabia que era o Wanderlei. E aí, Calixto, muito boa pergunta. Eu vou tentar responder várias agora, porque já tá ficando de noite. Mas, Calixto, muito boa pergunta e realmente teve razão. Se for uma coisa leal, vamos dizer assim, leal pros dois lados, né? Porque nem eu, nem o Dida, nem o Thor batemos nas costas de ninguém. E o negócio, a pergunta é, como é que o cara me entra no ringue e vai direto no Wanderlei, sabendo que ele estava com luva, caçado da luta, e o Wanderlei não estava brigando com ninguém, o Wanderlei não estava agredindo ninguém. Ele estava até os dois, né? O Popó e o Wanderlei estavam querendo separar. Então serve também para ele, só que não a maldade que ele teve, né? O Rafael teve muita maldade. Nem eu, nem o Dida batemos nas costas de ninguém, tudo de frente. Então, como lutadores, nós temos esse controle e ele sabia disso. Então, a minha dúvida é a maldade que ele teve. Ele não tentou defender o pai dele porque o Wanderlei não estava nem perto do Popó.